Hi folks, it's Keith, Victor Echo 3 Sierra Victor Quebec, back again with another video, and it's probably going to be a fun one to make, and I'm just sort of sitting here pondering how I'm going to do this. The subject today is code talking, C-O-D-E, talking, and it's a subject that's been around for a while. It's becoming a little bit more prominent again. So what is code talking? Well, first, I should give full credit to one of the people who raised this one, and this is Chris Rotowski in an excellent book, if you haven't seen it and you're into Morse Code, called A CW Way of Life, which is available on Amazon, and I'll try and put a link down below later. Now, Chris really highlighted this issue, and I thought back to when I first learned. I'm going way back now into 1989, 90. And yeah, we actually did a little bit of this, but not too much because remember in those days we were all in a big classroom of 30, 40 people, whatever, learning Morse code. So what is it? Well, Morse code is basically another way of learning that acoustic sound of a letter. Like your brain is learning to interpret, if you want, a rhythm pattern, a sound pattern, and identifying it as a certain letter. So this is really where code talking comes in. Now, code talking was around for many, many, many years, and it trained thousands of telegraph operators and so on. And that was the way they learned. Now, with computers and all this stuff, everyone says, oh, well, computers can do everything for you. To an extent, they can. Code talking, though, still works. So what do we do with code talking? Well, we take the letter and sort of what, if you want to call it, the symbol, the written symbol of what it would be like, and we translate it into dits and das, into sound patterns. So as an example, the letter A, D-da, right? The letter N, dot it. There's a sound pattern. Now, if the dits are at the beginning or in the middle of a letter, such as the A, then we pronounce it as D. If it's at the end, like we said with the letter N, dot it. So you actually say that dit, the complete dit. So there's a pattern. So everything here is learning sound patterns, that acoustic sound as to what that letter is like. So let's look at a couple of other ones. The letter S, diddy dit, diddy dit. It's not dit, 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 diddy dit. So very quick, almost like a machine gun going off. So this is how we do it, and it's a lot of fun. And you can do this on your own. You don't have to be in a classroom situation to do it. And I think for most of the adults out there, you probably would prefer to do it on your own. Now, speaking or saying code talk sounds pretty easy. It's not. And to a certain extent, it's going to match how you send those letters. And we'll get into a little bit of that in a few minutes. When you try and code talk a particular sound, you're going to stumble over some of them. It's just, you can't do it very fast. You're doing it very, very slow. And as a result, that's a letter you have to work on. Code talk, it should be done as fast as you can say that particular sound pattern. So like I said, with the S, it's not dit, 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 or even D, D, dit. It's D, D, dit, D, D, dit. Nice and fast. So always practice code talking, basically as fast as you can do it without messing up those combinations of dits and das. Now, a lot of you have computer programs that, especially if you're learning on your own, you have a computer program that you go to and they teach the individual sound. So bring up that letter that you want to learn, listen to the sound, and say it exactly the way the computer said it. Say it in code talk. All right, you'll find that maybe at the slower speeds, 10 words per minute, 12 words per minute, even 15 words per minute, it's pretty manageable. And then when you get up to that sort of 18, 20 words, that's where things fall apart. So that's it. Like I said, it's all about practice. So if there's letters that you're stumbling over, those are the ones you need to practice and practice a lot. Now there's a relationship between how well you do the code talking of a particular letter and how well you can send or receive it. Because your brain is listening for a sound. That's really what it boils down to. it hears a computer sound with a certain rhythm or pattern to it, an acoustic sound. It recognizes, oh, that was the letter R. When you speak or code talk that letter, D dot it, right? D dot it, D dot it. Your brain's still picking up that sound, still reinforcing that sound. So the code talking will reinforce whatever your computer generated program is trying to tell you. It's going to help you learn. So again, with most computer programs have some setting where they say the letter, send the letter, and there's a pause or whatever. It happens to be. Different programs do it differently. Let the computer send the letter, say the letter, and then if there's a space, say the letter again, but that time send it on your key. Now, most computer programs have the ability to send an individual letter sound, right? So let's assume, I don't know, the letter S, did. So get your computer to play the letter, say the letter, and then as you say it a second time, send it and see if it helps with your sending. It should over time, not necessarily right at the beginning because it takes a little bit of practice to get used to how you're doing it, but it does make a difference when you're doing this. So again, it's practice, practice, practice. How often should you code talk? Now, it's really up to you and your time. Um, we always say, 10, 15 minutes as a minimum, somewhere around there. But, you're out in your car. There's no one listening to you. No one sitting in the car beside you going, oh, geez, you sound silly. The car is a great place to practice code talking. There are stop signs. There are license plates. There are trucks or vehicles with advertising. There's store signs, all sorts of stuff that you can code talk as you're sitting in your car, especially at a traffic light somewhere. So it's a good place just to practice, and it reinforces that sound pattern in your brain, making it a little bit easier to receive, a little bit easier to send. Now, if it's so much fun and so easy to do, why don't more people do it? Well, I would say most of the people learning Morse code are adults. And adults, quite frankly, simply feel silly speaking Morse code out loud. Well, we get to that age where we get embarrassed. Kids, no, they don't care. You just have to get over the embarrassment, find a place where it's quiet, and do it. And I'll guarantee you it's probably going to help you out in the long run. And you'll pick up the code, the sounds a little bit faster. You'll be able to send them a little bit faster. And all in all, it's going to help you on your journey when you're learning Morse code. Now, just before we go here, I thought maybe we'd do a little bit of practice. Even I can feel silly at times, I don't mind. And just show a little bit again how it's done and some of the ways you can practice. So let's look at, for instance, the letter S, D-D-dit. There it is, D-D-dit. I want to send it on my key, D-D-dit, D-D-dit. All right, there's your practice. That's a nice, easy one. P, all right, the letter P, D-da-da-dit, D-da-da-dit. All right. A letter here that you're going to do a lot of, which is the letter R. Dit, dit, dit. That's what you're going to hear on almost every single Morse code exchange when people are talking. And just for fun, I'm going to do my call sign as I go out. My call sign. Dee-dee-dee-da, dit, dee-dee-dee-da-da, dit-dit-dit, dee-dee-dee-da, da-da-dee-da. There we go. Have a good day, folks. Keith, Victor Echo 3, Sierra Victor, Quebec, 73.